inside the Wayne and Eileen Ryan Athletic Center as Creighton gets set to take on the DePaul Blue Demons in Big East volleyball action. It has been a while since the Jays were in action. In fact, you saw that picture coming in. It looks like spring. Last time the Jays saw the court, it felt a lot like winter, looked that way as well. It's been 27 days since the Blue Jays have seen action. I'm Jake Ryan along with Shannon Smolinski. And Shannon, you look at everything that's happened, it's almost like another preseason for the Blue Jays, a very long layoff.
It sure does have that feel, and we're just really excited here in Omaha to be able to watch some volleyball and excited to see this matchup between the Blue Demons and the Blue Jays.
I know, you've got to keep it straight. Blue Demons and the Blue Jays. For the Blue Demons, they've got 8 newcomers to this year's squad, and 5 of them are freshmen, a highly touted freshman class. Leading the way is Jill Presley.
Yeah, the 5'11" freshman from Plano, Texas is really doing it all for the Blue Demons. She's leading her team in kills, and she's 3rd in digs, and she's really going to have to do a little bit of everything if they want to sneak away a win here in Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely very important. Both teams even in conference right now, 3-3 for the Blue Demons, 1-1 for the Jays. The Jays will lean on Jayla Zimmerman on their side.
Jayla, you know, when you're off for 27 days, you're going to need that leadership, and Jayla is going to be that key factor for them today.
Jays volleyball is back. First serve is coming up on Jays Video. Creighton volleyball brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, together tastes better. Jake Ryan and Shannon Smolinski back in the broadcast booth here inside Sokol Arena. It is a long time coming. I guess start of the season, part 2 for the Blue Jays. 4-2 overall. They were 0-0 in conference when that break began, but the conference decided, since those games with Marquette had been canceled because of COVID, that were supposed to be conference games, they took those non-conference games that the Jays had built in to improve that strength of schedule. Those are now conference games, so 1-1 for the Jays, 3-3 for DePaul, and that is their overall record as well for the Blue Demons.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup here today. I want to say tonight. We're, you know, those Friday matches typically being nighttime, now being, you know, earlier game. Sun is shining, and girls are excited to play on both sides. So really excited to see some quality volleyball.
Yeah, of course, they moved yesterday's game, or tomorrow's game, up to an 11 a.m. start, and then you've got to have that 24 hours in between matches. So that's why we are underway here, a matinee from Sokol Arena. Off and running as the Jays will return the first service, and that ball hit long, and DePaul will score first.
You'll probably see a little bit of some nerves kind of shaken out on both sides as like you mentioned, it's been, you know, highly anticipated to play this live match where you're not playing against yourself. So finding a way to get your flow and to stay in tempo is going to be something that we'll see here over the next few points.
Big swing for Jayla Zimmerman as you see the presence of her arm felt within the first 2 points. She's going to serve to start things for the Jays. 1-1 early, just after 11 o'clock Central Time between the Blue Demons and Blue Jays. Talked about that freshman class. There's Jill Presley that sends it over. On the other side, it'll be Keely Davis. Great effort by Rachel Krasowski, one of the other freshmen on this DePaul squad. The libero goes tumbling into her own bench.
Great effort there. Almost got herself maybe a little bit of a floor burn, but you know, she's another freshman like you talked about that's doing a great job for the Blue Demons.
Zimmerman far back corner. Now DePaul with there's the blocking felt up front by the Jays, and now Creighton will attack. Soft dump into the hands of Kiara Reinhardt for the Jays. Zimmerman from the back row. Near wing to Presley, blocked at the net, and the Jays grab another one. It's 3-1.
You're going to see the physicality of Creighton coming into play. You know, they definitely have some size for the Blue Jays, and the Blue Demons are smart with their pins and trying to find ways to tool off the hands. But they're going to need to be a little bit more creative if they're going to want to try to be a little bit more of a heavy presence in the front row.
Far side, big swing by Donna Brown. A little bit long. Donna Brown, big piece from last year's squad. Of course, the junior, named to the preseason Big East team. Lone Blue Demon nominated on that team. Attacked by Bailey Nelson. Jays come back the other way. Davis dunks it over. And they'll say it hit the court. And another point for the Blue Jays, 5-1 after DePaul scored first.
You're going to see a lot of versatility from the Blue Demons. You know, they have 4 pin hitters that are very versatile on both sides of the pin, and so being able to keep them in rhythm and trying to find a way to be creative with those 4 pin hitters, even like what you saw right there swinging out of the middle, will be interesting to see here today.
Ball finally getting a chance. Again, it's Nelson on the far side. Davis, and too much. Another point for the Blue Jays. 6-0 run right now for Creighton, and that's enough for Coach Zidek to call a timeout. 1 point for DePaul. It was the first of the game. The Jays have run off 6 straight. We'll back in a moment on Jays Video. Third year for head coach Marie Zidek, head coach for the DePaul Blue Demons. Let's see what she drew up in the timeout to stop this Jays run. Right now it stands at 6. Zimmerman has been the only server so far for the Jays. Dunked over but blocked by Reinhardt at the net, and it's another one on the board for Creighton.
That was a right idea by Presley to see if she could catch the back row sleeping a little bit to try to go a tip over the block, because they're going to have to find a way to find different shots on the floor, whether it's using the hands of the Blue Jays or trying to find roll shots and off speed. But it's going to be the battle of who can get their team in system.
Dug on the back row again on the attack by Nelson. Keely Davis sends it off the tip for DePaul again, blocked at the net by the Jays. Annika Welty and Kara Reinhardt doing a nice job in the middle, and that's going to bounce off a DePaul player out of bounds again. The Jays piling it up right now. Look at that hitting percentage on the board. Negative 250 for DePaul, 444 for the Jays in this 8-0 run.
And that's the one thing. If you're DePaul, you do not want to see Creighton in system. If they're in system, their physicality is going to show at the net, because they're just able to just be a little bit bigger, reach a little bit higher, where those seams and those lines are going to open right up.
Dug in the back row. And again, the Jays at the net. Solid job on the blocks. Be interesting to see what those numbers are. At the conclusion of this first set, finally an error by Creighton. Gets DePaul back on the board. It's 8-2.
A good idea. What I really like about Creighton is, with them running 2 setters and having really great middles, I still think they do a really good job of being balanced with their pins, not only in the front row, but also out of the back row, like you just saw there with Jayla.
Denneman, one of 3 transfers, set to serve for DePaul. Close to the net, put over by the Blue Demons. And now Davis will take it off the top on the attack. Solid job by Van Ekeren to get there. Again, Reinhardt in the middle. Shannon, very impressive so far between she and Annika Welty. They have not let anything over in the middle of the net.
Just really good discipline with their vision. When you put a team out of system, it makes it a little bit easier as a blocker to be able to track your setter and where she's going. But to do that, you have to be super disciplined with your vision.
Here's Jays freshman Kiara Reinhardt with the service. And finally, on the far side, Bailey Nelson gets it to go down.
And that's exactly what you're going to have to do if you're DePaul. If you're able to pass the ball and you're able to be neutral with your setter, where you're not telecasting where you're going, and you have 3 hitters live coming at you, it makes it a little bit harder to defend, and DePaul's going to need to do that a lot more throughout today's match.
Jays kept it alive, but it's a tough one at the net, and some miscommunication between Hickman and Davis allows the ball to fall. 9-4. A mini run as Donna Brown will serve for the second time. The only Blue Demon to serve consecutive opportunities. Other side, and again, it's too long for the Blue Jays. Monica Welty knocked it back and fired, but again, it tails into the bench on the far side towards Coach Zidek, and here comes DePaul.
Just a little bit of a timing and a tempo there by the slide.
And Ekron sets up Hickman. The Jays contacted twice, another one to the Blue Demons.
Just a lot of unforced errors that you're seeing right now, which is not common for the Blue Jays. So whether it be the ball handling errors or whether it be miscommunication, DePaul is capitalizing on it and doing anything they can to keep extending this run.
8 in a row for Creighton, and now 5 in a row for DePaul. That'll send us to timeout again here on the floor. So the Jays with 9, DePaul with 7, and that hitting percentage looked so great before, and now it has come back a little bit more even. 118 for the Jays. DePaul still under, but coming back. And again, 5 straight points. It's a combination of maybe you get a couple points and get a couple of breaks your way to get things moving.
Well, the breaks your way is mostly going to be coming off of the ball control, and that's what I'm seeing on the Blue Jay side is just a little bit of ball control errors, whether it be on the first contact or the second contact, whether that pass is too far off or whether the setter is putting that ball just a little bit too tight. Either way, that's going to make it a little bit harder for your hitters to score if you're having some ball handling errors. That's just going to make it tough.
And during that streak for the Jays, they did a very nice job up front. Reinhardt and Welty both credited with 3 blocks apiece right now on the stats. So if they can get that going, I think that was the key, is DePaul move the ball away from them, at least during this run.
And it's so funny because you look at that and you see what's happening at the net. And you're like, well, let's get that more at the net, whether it be blocking or hitting. But really, it actually comes down to the serve and pass. If you're serving aggressively, you're able to block a lot easier because you're holding their passers to a little bit lower of a passing percentage. And same thing if you're able to pass the ball well, you're able to put your hitters in a lot better of a flow.
Near side to Welty. Brown got a hand on it, and now they'll go back row. There is Ellie Bolton, the libero for the Jays, getting it up, and there's a block for DePaul that comes down. 6 straight points for the Blue Demons. And the Jays lead just 1 after they started out like a house on fire to begin this game.
And that's got to feel good if you're DePaul because you're getting an earned point. A couple of these runs, or this run, that they've been going on has been Creighton's unforced errors. So for DePaul, getting that earned point was probably a good feeling.
Nice job by Davis to change it up and just dump it in. Causes the error for DePaul, and the Jays finally score back. Here's Hina Pua'a, senior transfer out of University of Arizona. Played her first 2 seasons of college ball right across the river at Iowa Western Community College in Council Bluffs. Sends the serve over, now ready on the back row. Nice job by Bolton. Pua'a's there, and Davis will send it across. A little bit long, though, and the point back to DePaul.
Yeah, Mahina did a really good job of getting him out of system on serve receive. They just couldn't capitalize on being able to then take that and find a way to score. Just seeing some ball handling and a little bit of miscommunication. And I think, you have to attribute a little bit of that to being off for so long.
Murray now set to serve for DePaul. Another one of the transfers. 8 newcomers to this squad, including those 5 freshmen. She'll get 1 opportunity as Davis gets the kill.
What I love about Mahina's ball is it comes out of her hands so quickly. So she's able to run that fast tempo, but she doesn't trap her hitters. So when you have the physicality like you do here in Creighton, you don't need to put that ball too tight. They're still going to be able to hit up and over and around that block. So I really like the ball that's coming out of Mahina's hands right now.
Serving error for the Jays. Sends it back over to the other side. Hannah Carl. 4 of the 5 freshmen that they brought in, Coach Zidek and her crew, have really seen a lot of action, and Carl's one of them out of Carlsbad, California. Sends it over. Zimmerman starts it. Pua'a. Pass down. Nice kill for Kiana Schmidt.
Smart. It was a really, really smart run by Mahina. Really great tempo. Just set it right inside that pin. She has that mismatch where, she's just a little bit taller than Denneman, and she's able to hit that high line shot for a clean swing.
Ellie Bolton on a line across the net. Tries to go back corner, and they do. Finds Bolton out of position. That was Emma Price that put it in the right spot.
And this is nothing new for Price. She's been here. She's played at this level. She knows what it's going to take to be able to put the Blue Jays on their heels. So to be able to see those corner shots open up and to take that risk, that's really good for the Blue Demons. So she can show those younger freshmen, hey, we can find these holes. We just have to go for it.
Big block for the Blue Demons, and it ties the first set at 12 apiece. Here's Rachel Krasowski. Again, the block. And the Blue Demons have turned this completely around.
Yeah.
First lead since 1-0.
Yeah, if you're Kira there, you got to stay going high line because she has the mismatch between her and Denneman. And so if she would have tried to turn that high line, I think she would have gotten a tool. The problem is she just went cross thinking that there was a split open, and Brown did a really good job of sealing that up.
Raw sets Davis up from the back row, and DePaul cannot return inbounds. Ties it up at 13. Substitutions as Puaha and Schmidt will come out. Van Ekeren back in. She'll be set to serve for the Blue Jays. Great serve and another great block. Kiara Reinhart right in the middle and sends it back down.
Yeah, just a really good job of being low and over. When you're going against smaller hitters, sometimes they're going to try to find your high hands. And if you're low and over, that's where you're going to be successful at the net. And so I thought the Blue Jays did a really good job with that setup as well as that hold.
Van Ekeren in a blocking there for the Blue Jays off of the attack by Denneman. Denneman ties it at 14.
Yeah, just the same thing there. Learn from her first mistake of I can't just swing, 12-6, going right into the hands of the block. I have to be able to try to go up and out. And she learned from it, and she was able to score.
Jays return from Phoenix Lee, not the way they would have liked. And they get the block, though, to bail themselves out. So interesting, as we talked in the pregame, that not only do the Jays use two setters, but so does DePaul. Phoenix Lee, who just saw that serve last time, is one of two along with Molly Murray.
Yeah, and both teams do a great job of staying balanced between those hitters. But both teams have also played Marquette, and Marquette is also a two-setter system with balanced hitters all across the net. So both of these teams have seen it. They practice against it, and both teams are doing a really good job of staying balanced to defend them at the net.
Hitting here by DePaul gives the Jays a 2-point lead, 16-14. And here's where we started with Zimmerman serving. She ran off 8 straight to build a huge lead for the Blue Jays that DePaul has since come back from. Bolton thought it was going long, and she pats her chest and says, yeah, that one's on me. It lands right in the corner in front of the linesman.
To me, the back and forth, there hasn't really been a whole ton of runs on either side of the net. There was the one with DePaul, but it just seems as if, neither team is really wanting to grab their reins and kind of go after it. So it'll be interesting to see as we close out near the end in set 1 to see who wants to take the reins and go after and attack just a little bit more.
Ball will tie it up. Welty got a good block, but DePaul coming back on the attack. And off the fingertips of not one, but 2 Blue Jays on its way out of bounds.
It looks like we'll see a challenge here. Usually Coach Booth will ask her players what their thoughts were and if she should pull the green card, and it looks like we're going to have a challenge.
What do you suppose it was?
I don't know if they're discussing if there wasn't a touch. They
from the naked eye, just from how I saw it, I thought I saw one at the top and in the back.
Yeah, and you have the best angle where you are.
But I'm legally blind in one eye, so that doesn't help us.
Well, you do have the best angle to be able to see at the net as far as a touch. It is really hard if you're the line judge when you're behind the blocker sometimes or at a different angle. But it looks like they're trying to see, if it didn't go off her hands. We're looking for just a little slight movement of the fingers. Is there any bend in a finger? Is there any? And it looks like there is a little bit of a touch there from Kira. So I would be surprised if this call's overturned, but
From Jay's video doing a nice job.
yeah, that angle, it looks like there wasn't a touch. You're also looking for spin, if there's spin that kind of takes it in a different direction from where it was coming from. So that angle's a little bit tough, but the one that they showed previously that you guys were seeing, as well as that's the same videos that your officials are looking at as well, it looked as if that finger did have a little bit of movement.
Yeah, they're seeing the exact same picture that you are viewing it at home or wherever you're at. Here's the full sequence.
Yeah, unless it's something earlier within the rally, whether it been somebody in the net or, because it looks pretty clear. Okay.
So they are looking at maybe Donna Brown in the net.
And so she's not under, that her momentum looked as if maybe she could have went under the net. Her foot has to clearly
Oh, there it is. There's the touch.
Yep. Yeah. So it looks like Brown on her way down is getting her hip.
Or her elbow, perhaps.
Right
to the bottom of the net.
And you don't usually see plays last that long with not being called right away. But I felt earlier in the match there was a lot of movement within the net. So I'm wondering if that was something that the Creighton staff, had seen, that there wasn't a call and they were kind of a little bit more Johnny on the spot to be able to, recognize that and call that if it hasn't been called by the R2.
So a decision has been made. Relays it to the officials and then to the public address announcer. And it is a point for the Blue Jays. So instead of 16s, it's now 17-15, Creighton in front.
Yeah, in a game that's going back and forth like that, that 2-point swing is a big deal, especially if you're DePaul, because you're making a run, you're holding them. So that 2-point swing is something that, when you get towards the end of the game, you don't really want to see.
Reinhardt. Blocked again by the Blue Jays. Now they'll set up the attack. Into the middle to Hickman. Nicely done by Davis. Putting it down. Almost a free ball up there, and passed just a little bit too close to the net, and there it is.
Yep, Krasowski's doing a really good job of getting those defensive ups, but I would say, out of system-wise, against a bigger team, that's the one thing you can't do, is you cannot put that ball too tight.
Another solid serve into the back row. Tipped. The Jays will attack. Back set to Welty. Zimmerman couldn't get over fast enough. Reinhardt couldn't respond either, and DePaul comes back to cut it to 2 as Donna Brown will serve.
Just a really good up there by Denneman, too, to see that seam, fill that seam, to keep that rally alive.
Well done by Naomi Hickman to put it down to the side. DePaul almost there, but Hickman a nice job of sending it out. Welty out, and here comes Emily Bressman in to serve, sophomore out of Omaha Marion High School. See if she can get herself a run going. And it's Hickman again. DePaul's returns just way too close to the net for the Jays, and they are taking advantage of it. That'll be a timeout for the Blue Demons. 20-16, Creighton in front. We will be back in just a moment. Creighton leads DePaul on Jay's video. After a reversal with the point award to the Blue Demons, initially would have tied it at 16, and now they've started to pull away. Out of bounds, and there it is, 21-16 Jays continuing to pull ahead. DePaul has used both their timeouts here in set number 1. Coach Zidek few more words of instruction before Bressman comes across with the serve. Nice low service, and there is a blocking error for the Blue Jays. That will be the point to DePaul. After a solid Creighton run, they started this game on with an 8-point run after being down 1-0, and then DePaul fought back from that deficit to take a lead, I believe, at 13-12. Just trying to recall that point total, and then it's been back and forth since then before the Blue Jays' latest point streak. Keely Davis with the big rip. Far side. Carl pulls the trigger, but the Jays respond, and well done by Allie Van Eckeren.
That's the one thing when you're in a 5-1 and you're able to have your setter out of the front row. That's the one thing that you like to be able to do when you have that setter that's up there and she's able to be that offensive weapon, as you have to as a middle. You have to be able to protect your middle on the other side and defend her, but then you also have to be able to keep your eye on the setter. So that's the one thing when you're running a 6-2, you miss out a little bit.
Another block between Zimmerman and Hickman. Ball again will get in a chance to attack, and that ball sent long and a point for the Blue Jays. 23-17. Keely Davis. One of 3 Blue Jays on that preseason All-Big East team. Ball out of sorts, sends it over, and now it'll be Zimmerman with the attack. Nice job on the back row for Krasowski, but she puts it over, and Hickman with another chance.
Really good ball distribution by Allie Van Eckeren there, pushing that ball pin to pin, keeping it with tempo, really just keeping the Blue Demons on defense and allowing their hitters to get multiple opportunities to be successful.
Set point for Creighton in set number 1. And it's too deep for Davis.
Just got a little bit away from her. That's the one thing you don't want to do, is miss a game point serve. Nice when you have the 6-point cushion. That's the one thing that you're really not wanting to see if you're Coach Booth.
Paul shuffling the defense. Here comes the serve from Hannah Carl. Krasowski, Carl, and a big swing, but Denneman is out of bounds, and the Jays take set number 1, 25-18. So DePaul fights back after getting down early, but ultimately it's the Blue Jays with the victory in set number 1. 1-0 in the match. Back for set number 2 right after these. You're watching Creighton Volleyball on Jays Video. Back inside Sokol Arena on the Creighton University campus. Today, DePaul and the Blue Jays taking action. First games for Creighton since, well, a long time ago, it feels like. A loss to Marquette on what was supposed to be a non-conference weekend against the Golden Eagles. Instead, after 27 days off, those games are now conference games. The Jays 1-1 in the Big East. DePaul has played 6 games, all in the Big East at 3-3 in the Midwest Division. And so Creighton and DePaul sitting tied right now in second place behind Marquette, who's 3-1. On the other side, they've only played a pair of matches. St. John's and UConn have split 1 each, and of course you would expect that action to get going, and it really does this weekend, all the way until the conference tournament, which will be held right here at Sokol Arena. I'm Jake Ryan along with Shannon Smolinski as we get you set for set number 2. Shannon, we've got those stat sheets from set number 1 in our hands. What stands out at you as we get set to begin this second set?
Well, it looks like it's a Keely Davis show. She's really the only one that is leading the floor with more than 2 kills. Everybody else is, kind of tinkering back and forth between 1 and 2, and Keely's really the only one that's able to be productive today.
Allie Van Eckeren with the set, and then couldn't handle the attack from DePaul. It's 1-0 as Hannah Carl will step back to serve for the Blue Demons.
The other thing that's standing out to me today is, usually when you're watching a volleyball match, you're able to see, okay, this team is trying to do X against that team. You can see kind of whether it's running their middles, whether it's attacking the corners. And you're not really seeing either side putting out a game plan. It seems as if they're just kind of playing to play. So what I'm hoping to see and what's standing out to me is both teams that are being a little bit more intentional on what they're trying to do and what they're trying to attack to be able to get their team a little bit more in system and playing with more of a game flow.
Keely Davis with the kill to tie the game. Do you think that's a product of the fact that they've had so much time off?
I do. You know, usually you're coming into a match, you're in game form, you're in that mentality, you're in that mindset to be, your game scouting, and they just haven't seen that in so long. So, all they've been seeing is each other and practicing against each other, and so it kind of takes a while to get that back into your system.
Big rip from Kiara Reinhardt to get the set even at 2 apiece. She's back to serve. And I mentioned it, and I think I've mentioned it every match. I love this timing mechanism that she does for her serves. It's like watching a pitcher on the baseball diamond where he flaps his glove. Just something that to get you right in the head, so to speak.
Well, and it's the one thing in volleyball that you have complete control over. And so if you can take that cleansing breath or have that routine where you're able to focus on what it is that you're attacking, I think it's great. Some people call it a hinky, a tell of what they're going to be doing, or, something that kind of sets you apart. But whatever you can do to get your mind right, to be aggressive back there,
sure.
I love it.
We all know consistency is the toughest thing when it comes to the easy things. And the Jays finding out that there's some consistency going on in the DePaul service as Molly Murray sends one over and they're unable to return it.
Consistency as well as, passing that float ball. So, when you don't have any spin that's coming off of that hand and that ball is flat and clean, it's a really hard ball to defend because there's so much movement. And I think, DePaul right now is doing a really good job, especially here with Murray, of just hitting that ball flat and clean and catching the Blue Jays a little bit off balance.
Funny exchange between the official and one of the ball shaggers. I was waiting for him to get out of his chair. He said, "Look behind you. He's coming to get it." Cross court, too long. And it's a point to DePaul. What happened there?
It looks like they're calling a touch. And that's so hard to see. You're trained as hitters to go after the high hands. And sometimes it might just be that little nick of the finger that gets you that call touch, and it might not be as obvious as what you typically see. And so Price was able to go ahead and get that little sneak of the hand.
Man, I tell you what, on the right side right now, it is block city for DePaul. Avery Evans-Allen has been a big part of it, and DePaul has raced out to a 7-2 lead. Well, in set number 1, it was the Blue Jays that got off to an early run. Here in set number 2, it's been DePaul that's pulled ahead. 7-2 right now for the Blue Demons as Molly Murray, transfer out of Memphis, coming home out of Palos Heights, Illinois. So returning closer, and she's made a difference this year for the Blue Demons on the stat line. Hickman puts it across. And nice cut shot by Presley as she caught Van Ekeren in an odd spot.
What I really loved about that whole rally with DePaul is they were able to get their middles involved, and then more importantly, I thought Krasowski did a really good job of leading Presley in to be successful, but not to trap her. She was able to keep that ball off the net.
Zimmerman, Van Ekeren, Davis, and finally the Jays come up. Well done by Keely to drop it in.
Both Keely and Jayla do a really good job. If you were to have a kill chart for both of them, they do a really good job of putting that ball all over the floor, whether it's tooling, whether it's deep corners, whether it's off-speed shots, and that's why they're so hard to defend, and that's why the Blue Jays do such a good job of being balanced.
Pua'a in the serve, and then in the back row, it's Zimmerman that can't handle the attack from DePaul. Blue Demons grow that lead again to 6.
Being able to run your middles is huge. It not only is it, it speeds your system up, catches the other side off balance, but it takes a little bit of the load off of the pin hitters, that they don't have to be the only ones that are producing on in system and out of system. So when you're able to find a way to get those middles involved, it really helps balance the floor out a ton.
One thing that break did was allow the Jays to get healthy. The last game against Marquette, Pua'a came up a little bit lame, and she was ready to come back when they were ready to take on Marquette again, but with the COVID, it allowed her injury to heal even more. So not just her, but everybody, I'm sure. Touched? No. It is a shot long, and here's another challenge, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see. From my angle, it looked like the ball sailed wide and had a little bit of spin because it almost hit a little bit oddly off of her arm. But like you had mentioned with Mahina, that break for them is good because they need her. They really value the tempo that she's able to run. It's just a flat, clean ball that she does a really good job of keeping those hitters in system.
Nice job by Bolton recovering after sending the ball long and having it put back to her. Great job by DePaul keeping it alive. Hickman, Hua'a. Smith attacks him back, but the Jays come up again and cash in. 10-5, the lead has been cut.
DePaul's doing a really good job at the net, trying to slow down the Blue Jay hitters, getting the hands up. But I will say Creighton is doing a lot better job of being a little bit more intentional on where they're swinging to try to be able to catch those blockers off balanced.
Bolton, nice job. And unable to get anything clean on the return is DePaul. So the Jays again put it on the board, 10-6 now. Bolton a little low.
You don't want to wait too long if you're Creighton to find a way to get a couple runs, whether it's a side out and being back behind the service line for a couple and going on a run, or whether it's not giving up too many runs. You definitely don't want to wait too long.
Phoenix Lee checking in, and she leaves it shy. So the Jays will grab it back, 11-7. DePaul with a busy weekend. They'll not only play today at 11 and tomorrow at 11, but they'll also travel to Cedar Falls on the way home and take on UNI. Of course, that is one of the Jays' non-conference opponents as well, who they took care of. They've also added a pair of matches against Iowa State. So Blue Demons trying to get some matches under their belt as well. Zimmerman now near side, solid attack by Denneman to give DePaul a 5-point lead again.
She does a really good job of just going in strong, and if you're not over and you're not low, she's going to find a way to see if she can either sneak off a kill or to find a way to put you out of system. She's done a really good job for the Blue Demons today.
She'll head to the bench as Hannah Carl checks in. Zimmerman, Van Ekeren, near side to Welty. Krasowski, man, she tried, but that ball was heading to the floor in a hurry.
Yeah.
Watch it again. Here it comes.
Well, if you're Nelson, you got to move that block in a little bit. As soon as you see that set isn't all the way out to the pin, you have to be able to move that block setup in just a little bit so you can get some sort of a hand on that ball to slow it down.
Donna Brown comes back the other way for DePaul. Jays have been able to get it down to 4, but have not pulled out anything less than that. Davis. And Reinhardt a little bit long.
Yeah, it almost looked like it painted that back line. It was right there. She might have overran it just a little bit. As a middle, when you're going in for your sets that are in front of your setter, you want to make sure that you're keeping that ball out in front to allow not only for you to work around the blockers in front of you, but to be also to be able to get on top of that ball for that ball to stay in.
Tried to defend the attack by Zimmerman, but that one is almost in the stands on the deflection.
Yeah, really good seam there that she found.
Another point for the Jays, and there you go, cutting it back to 4, 14-10. They need a run right here. And why not do it with Kiara Reinhardt?
And they just need to stay intentional. What is it that we're trying to do? We're going to get them out of system. We're going to be disciplined on our block. From there, what can we do to run something in system and quick?
Hickman, great job on the overplay by DePaul. And there you go, down to 3. That's what you're trying to do, is cut into that lead. And finally, they've gotten within that realm that they had struggled to get to, which is below the 4-point mark.
Well, and who needs a setter when you're able to just get the overpass and get the swing?
Other side, and there is Van Eckeren sending it over on the return. Great attempt by Zimmerman, but the ball sailing down that line and it kicks out of bounds.
Phoenix Lee did a really good job there with that tempo. You know, we talked about having the balance of the hitters on both sides of the net, and to be able to run them both in system and out of system. But this game, the margin of error is so small, and it really comes down to a matter of inches. And really where I'm seeing DePaul being successful is when they're able to keep the ball off of the net just a little bit, where they're able to work around Creighton's blockers. And I think that last series there, I thought Phoenix Lee did a really good job of being able to keep the tempo, but also not trapping her hitters.
Hickman forces the blocking error on her attack, and now Emily Bressman will be in to serve for the Jays. So the good vibes were flowing, and then the service error. Bressman right back out. She's replaced by Grace Nelson.
Yeah, a lot of service errors actually in this set,
Yeah.
so both sides are going to want to clean that up just a little bit.
And Eckeren tries to keep it alive. Did, but too high for Zimmerman. 17-12. Jake Ryan along with Shannon Smolinski as DePaul got out to a good start, and they've been able to trade points with the Jays since that early run. Sends it over, Bolton, Van Eckeren. Far side, there's Davis. Big swing. Blocked partially by DePaul, but it will fall for the Jays. And again, it's 17-13. And here comes the sophomore out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, ready to get a run going if you're a Blue Jay. Sends it over. Nice job on the back row by Krasowski. Jays now will attack. Van Eckeren, nice hit. She puts it over Krasowski, who leaped up from her 5'3" height and couldn't quite get there.
She's 2 for 2 with those setter attacks, and she's doing a really good job of finding that deep corner every time.
And the Jays cut it to 3. That's enough for a DePaul timeout. And then they bring her in the same situation and just sends it to the net. So you've got opportunities like that where the Jays just haven't capitalized on.
Yeah, and if you're coming in to serve cold off the bench, that's hard to do. But the one thing that you don't want to do is miss a serve on your first attempt. You want to make sure that you're finding the zone that you're hitting. You want to attack it with pace. You want to attack it with accuracy. And then from there, if you're on a 3-point run, a 4-point run, and you're going for it and you miss it, that's a little bit understandable. But, if you're going up there behind the line, whether it's off the bench or within the match, if you're already in, you want to make sure you're getting that first ball over and in.
Davis out of the timeout, 17-14 DePaul in front, and Van Eckeren got the first touch on it. Grace Nelson looked like she might have been able to get there, and then once that happened, Grace wasn't able to get there after Van Eckeren touched it toward the right side.
Defensively, just like your blockers, you ask them to sink and read. You want them to be able to read the ball, read the setter, and then read the ball hitter. And so, when you're a defensive player, you have to be able to anticipate. If that ball is tight, you have to be ready to expect some sort of an off speed or a tip. And so that's really, like we talked about, is really going to be the difference of us getting that ball and making it an easy play, or us being a little bit out of system and then not able to do something with that.
Ellie Bolton across. Man, there's a rocket from Dinneman. 19-15 to Paul.
Yeah, she's having a day today. She's really coming up big for them. They haven't really used her as much as they have been using, their freshmen in Presley and Carl. And she's doing a great job getting that opportunity and finding the hands, finding the seams.
There's Nelson. Van Eckeren now. Zimmerman. Krasowski. She'll bring it up to Dinneman. Good job by Bolton. Davis sends it over. Lee. And that ball. Too much on the edge. And you look at the blocks that Creighton was able to pull off in set number 1. They've got none here in set number 2.
Yeah, and that comes down to ball control. If you're Coach Zidek, you have to be really pleased right now with how your Blue Demons are handling the ball on the first contact, on the second contact. They're doing a really good job of producing a nice clean ball to allow their hitters to work around the block, and the Blue Jays are struggling defensively because of the ball handling clean touches that DePaul's having right now.
Nice clean ball to do what Jayla Zimmerman just did. Man, so fun to watch when she loads up. And Ekron, nice serve. Blocked by the Blue Jays again. And now DePaul from the back row. Bolton. Zimmerman. Nice job by Krasowski on the back row. And too much on the swing by Bailey Nelson. 21-16, DePaul inching closer.
Yeah, the rhythm for DePaul looks really clean right now. As I mentioned, Lee is just doing a really good job of staying balanced and really being able to keep her hitters, in a nice, clean and easy transition.
Got everything situated. Hannah Carl waiting. And now they'll say proceed. Zimmerman, Van Ekron, back to Davis.
That ball handling error there. That's a really tough ball to handle if you're a setter when that ball is super high, dug really high, has a lot of movement. Then to be able to be a setter and to get that cleanly out of your hands is tough. So it's a ball handling error, and you don't want to have too many of those when you're trying to close this out in set 2.
Zimmerman will try to start something for the Blue Jays. Out of bounds, but touched, and it's DePaul's point.
Yep, and that's all you're trying to do. You're trying to be able to keep that ball out in front of you. You're trying to see those blockers' hands, try to go after them, or try to hit any space in the corners, and that's going to get you a kill.
Blocking error. That'll be a point for the Blue Jays. Davis got the big swing.
Big swing and smart swing. She has the ability, she has the range to really do what she wants with that ball. And so, she did a really good job of knowing that she had the 4 hands to take her thumb up and to tool them. For her and for Creighton, both Keeley and Jayla are going to need to be a little bit more intentional to not just send the ball over, but to end the rally. And that's exactly what she did on that one.
Reinhardt long on the serve. And now it'll be Molly Murray. Hickman again with the directional dunk.
Yeah, just a little bit of a miscommunication here between Price and Murray of who is going to be able to take that ball. Typically, when you're running a middle, if you're not blocking, you are the off-block defender, and you should be helping play that first ball if you're off the block. And that's where you cannot have those kind of mistakes when you're trying to close this out.
Pua'a will only get one chance as DePaul gets themselves to set point. It'll be Jill Presley. Here it is again.
Just had a huge seam. Naomi kind of got stuck with her middle and just had a hard time getting all the way over to seal that up. And Presley took advantage of that by swinging right into that seam.
A solid pass as well to set her up. Davis takes a little bit off it. Now DePaul has a chance to come back, and that'll do it. Set number 2 goes to the Blue Demons. We are tied at 1 apiece. 25-19 your final. Creighton and DePaul. Set number 3 coming your way right after these on Jay's Video. Swing that you saw, pretty good match so far, and notes from, well, we'll call him the man that knows the numbers, Rob Anderson. DePaul 593 best hitting percentage in a set versus Creighton since USC hit 607 back in 2017. So you're talking USC volleyball, DePaul volleyball, and DePaul's on the upswing, but that's quite the comparison, and what they were able to do in the second set was pretty impressive. Long by Phoenix Lee on the first serve, and the Jays will take a 1-0 advantage here in set number 2.
Yeah, this will be a fun set to watch to see who comes out and attacks with intent, and if they're able to, keep the hitters in rhythm and blockers to be disciplined. This should be a fun one.
Zimmerman returned by DePaul on the far side, and a kill for Bailey Nelson evens the match.
When you're passing well and you have three hitters that can all produce a kill for your team, it really makes it hard for your blockers and your defenders to defend. It opens up so many seams and holes, and that's a little bit of the difference. Is in set one, DePaul was not passing and defensively in transition able to get three hitters in rhythm, and now they are, and they're finding a lot more productivity in their offense.
Saw Donna Brown come up short there after both Krasowski and her teammate in the backcourt dove for that dig. Kiara Reinhart set to serve. 2-1, Jays in front. Krasowski lead. Another big swing, too big this time for Bailey Nelson, and the Jays lead 3-1.
It's a really good idea for her to try to go high and off the hands. I think she was just a little bit too early and kind of overran that ball. So once you get that ball and it just is a little bit behind you, that's going to be hard to keep that ball in the court.
Reinhart again sends it in the perfect spot. Now the Jays setting up. Back set to Welty, and it's off the hands, and a point for the Jays.
Annika is just so long. Yeah, she's just so long, and if you're able to have that high contact and you're able to keep that ball in front when you have that mismatch between her and Denneman, she's going to be able to be pretty successful over there. So it was a really good choice by Van Ekeren.
4-1 Blue Jays, Reinhart into the net, and that will be DePaul's benefit. Donna Brown gets back to set. Junior out of Galloway, Ohio. Preseason All-Big East selection. Sends it over. Big swing, too big.
We'll look to see if there's a challenge. It was a back row for a back row, and they felt their back row attack fell in after it hit that tape. So we'll get another look at it.
Several of them, probably.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of how challenges work, 3 per match. Use it anytime. Whether you're right or wrong, you don't get it back. And if the match goes 5, then you get 1 more for each team. So 4 total if it's a 5-set match. And this is the first one spent by DePaul.
So here they're challenging if that ball bounces off of the net and then lands in. The initial call was it was out. So we'll see if it lands anywhere on the tape or in the court. It is in. So see what kind of view. And that one was a little bit tough with her being in the way.
Yeah, we're going to have to get Bailey Nelson to drop her shoulder a little bit. You can see the official, the linesman, eyeing it right there. It's very close, obviously.
And the coaches for DePaul, all 3 of them are very present and active and up on the sidelines. So they're standing, almost as if they're line judges. So they had a pretty good view of it, and they all went, to that challenge card right away as if they saw it in.
I'm not sure we're going to get a definitive look with the views that we've got. What you're seeing is what the official is seeing, and again, there's Ellie Bolton with her legs right in the way.
Yeah, every angle, you have to have the right one to be able to see if it is hitting any part of that line. And, by the way the trajectory of the ball and the way the ball is moving does look like it is in, but, it just depends on if it bounces just right, whether it's on one side or the other of that line.
So the official has made his decision. Might be, was it conclusive enough to change the call? And no, clearly it's not.
Yeah, so a little bit of frustration if you're DePaul because, they had probably the best angle of them all to be able to see that. But, it's hard. Like I mentioned, even with the camera, if you're on one side or the other, it's just tough to see. So, if it's not conclusive, then you got to go with what your initial call was.
So out of the review, it'll be Hina Pua'a that will send it over. Blocked by the Jays, and there's a good start.
Really good discipline by Hickman and by Kiara to not bite on the middle and to stay with that pin hitter who was coming in on a cross pattern on that 2-ball. Really good discipline there.
Should be of note, as that ball sent long, Hickman's top 4 blocking games in her career. The top 3 have been against Marquette. The 4th against DePaul.
Yeah, for me, the opener here for the against Marquette, you knew that she needed to be a presence to be able to defend all of the hitters that are coming at them, and she did a phenomenal job that night. And she does a phenomenal job always, and I think a lot of it has to do with her vision and her trust with what she's reading from the setter's hand. Double contact there by Mahina again.
Point to DePaul.
Yeah, one of those high balls that is really hard to get cleanly out of the hands.
Ellie Bolton, though, clears the double-digit plateau for Diggs. Makes it her 5th straight that she's gone over that mark. Not a bad way to start your career. Far side pass to Davis. Bolton will send it over. Just out of the reach of Ellie Bolton on a big swing by Avery Evans-Allen.
Yeah, just a battle of the pins on both sides. And then DePaul was able to catch that free ball, take advantage of it, get their middle in transition, and find that one-on-one opportunity.
6-5 Blue Jays. Pua'a again. This time sets behind her, and it's Schmidt that cashes in.
Just a really good slide. If you're able to have middles that are able to go behind the setter and to be able to run it quickly, it is really hard to defend. And the Blue Jays have been very successful today in doing so.
Davis across. A nice job on that hit by Emma Price. She's a little bit, just contorted the wrong way, and she still made the adjustment to put it where the Blue Jays weren't. Great job.
You're right. She was a little bit on her way down. It kind of, hit off her hand a little bit oddly and rolled right into that donut. If you're Ellie, you're going to want that ball back because, if you're seeing that, typically you're going to want your bro to dive in there and take that ball away. And she kind of got caught spectating, which is not something she typically does.
Pua'a again sets up Schmidt. Cut shot. Didn't find the floor like the previous did, and now it'll be off of Krasowski's hand, and the Jays grab the point.
Just any way you can do it, and Hickman did a really good job of seeing the corner, and the Blue Jays have scored a ton back there. Krasowski's doing a really good job of getting touches and defensive digs off of the Blue Jays. Sometimes she's getting caught, sucked in just a little bit much on transition, and the Blue Jays are seeing that and throwing it in that deep corner.
Another serving error for Bolton. Brings DePaul within a point, 8-7. Krasowski. Reinhardt. Nice job between Bolton, Pua'a, and Reinhardt of closing that one down.
Yep, just being able to have a nice, clean, and easy pass. And if you're that close and you're running it that fast, typically you're going to catch your other side, somebody off balanced, and that's exactly what they were able to take advantage of there.
Ellie Van Ekeren sends her across. Far side, and there it's Price.
You don't typically see your right side pin hitters running off of 1 foot, and they haven't. When you're in a 6-2, you're not able to, in defensive trans, when the ball's going back and forth, you're not able to let your middle run behind the setter unless you're running a combination. So when you have a right side that's able to kind of be that middle essentially and run it off of your 1 foot, that's just really hard to defend. So Price did a really good job of just trusting that set was going to get there and run off that 1 foot.
Another ace for DePaul. That'll give them the point. They have run off 3 so far in this match. Jays still don't have 1.
Smart.
Very smart. Everybody gathered toward the front, nobody back, and the ball put perfectly into the open space.
as a middle, you work so hard. You work pin to pin, and sometimes you work pin to pin, and that ball might not find you offensively because we're not able to get the ball to you based off of the pass or the defense. And so if you're able to get a block touch and set yourself up and create opportunities, you got to go for it. It's free money.
DePaul takes the lead and now adds to it on Zimmerman's ball that just goes on the other side of the boundary marker, and Creighton wants a timeout. 11-9, the Blue Demons lead the Blue Jays. We will continue set number 3 from Sokol Arena in Omaha, Nebraska, right after this on Jays Video. Now make it 12-9 after that ball is out of bounds.
DePaul is doing a really good job this set of putting the pressure on Creighton, whether they're serving aggressively or whether they're taking risks to go, after that shot that might not be the easiest one. They're doing a really good job of putting the pressure on this set. Another ball handling error, which, she was doing a really good job. Phoenix Lee was doing a really good job of keeping the hitters in rhythm. So couple the set that she's had, that when you're in this tight of a match of a back-to-back tied one set apiece, you definitely don't want any ball handling errors on your side.
There's the first ace of the match for the Blue Jays as Zimmerman took quite a bit off of it. It floated in, catching DePaul off guard. One more time. Joe Presley couldn't quite get low enough to get a good touch on it. Bolton from the back row. Van Ekeren. Davis. Zimmerman. Again to Davis. Blocked at the net. Blue Jays will have another chance. Welty blocked out of bounds, and a point for the Jays. That'll tie it at 12.
Really good discipline there by Annika. That ball was a little bit too tight, and if she would have tried to go any other place but to try to tool, she would have gotten blocked. And so I thought that was really tremendous discipline on her part to be able to end the rally and not give up on that set.
Sent back to Presley. Van Ekeren right in the middle for Reinhardt, and it's out of bounds. DePaul will sneak back ahead by 1. Joe Presley's back to serve.
Yeah, and both sides are those in and out balls. I mean, they're just right there, whether it be right there in or right there out. They're really doing a good job on both sides of the net, attacking the perimeter of the court.
Welty from the back row. Well done for Presley.
Yeah, smart. I mean, if you have 3 hitters at the net and you're in system and they're all going, then you add a 4th with the back row hitter, you're going to give her a one-on-one opportunity. And that one-on-one opportunity might not be with a balanced blocker. So if you're able to find any way to put them out of system, put the pressure on them, that's what you have to do. And DePaul is really doing a good job of that this set.
And they've grown their lead to 3 after Zimmerman couldn't handle that serve. Long for a touch at the net, correct?
Yep, they're calling a touch on the DePaul's block, which was really hard to see because you didn't really hear it necessarily, and you didn't see much ball movement, but it was enough to be able to call it right away from the R2.
15-13 as Davis with another kill. 6 straight matches for her with 10 or more. Trying to add to it on the far side. Just a little bit long, and DePaul again in front by 3. 16-13.
And that's tough to do when you're having to be the hitter that's having to hit back-to-back, and it's out of system. The weight, and then you got to go in for it. She was just a little bit too early on that one and sailed it wide.
Welty tried to dunk it in, and instead it was dunked out. 17-13 as Brown returns to the service line.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back unforced hitting errors is not something that you're wanting to see if you're Coach Booth in set 3. So, you want to make sure that those hitters have a plan of where they're trying to go to. And I'm sure they do. So it's trusting in that plan and making sure they stay consistent in attacking it.
side to Davis, and finally she'll knock one in.
Yeah,
Got Donna Brown to her left side.
Yeah, that when you have the libero out and you're able to hit that high cross, as you have your middle back playing there, you're going to find a way either end in the rally or you're going to put them out of system, and that's what they did. And I'm surprised to see Creighton not attacking zone 1 a little bit more. I understand that with the libero being out, but when you're going up against 2 setters, when you make that setter play the first ball, you're forcing the other team to play out of system. So I'll be curious to see if they try to attack that a little bit more in this set and even in the next set.
Really needed a run to start there, and Pua'a sends it long. DePaul back up by 4, 18-14. That was nasty. Did you see the rotation on that ball by Murray?
Yeah, it's almost like it came out of a little bit, hit off her shoulder a little weird.
And so the Blue Jays call their second timeout of set number 3, 19-14 your score. And it is not going the Blue Jays' way, as the Blue Demons have really done a nice job. Again, last year was their most successful year in program history, and they've just kind of built on it this year. Still only 3-3, but 2 of those losses were to Marquette. They split with Xavier, swept Butler, and hoping to steal one on the road here against Creighton, and they're pretty close to pulling off a set 3 win as well. Creighton's got to find a way to dig deep and prevent that from happening.
And the way that they're doing that, to me, it stands out with what they're doing behind the line. And by that, I mean behind the service line. Creighton has 9 service errors versus DePaul's 2 service errors. And then you look at the serving aces, DePaul has 6 service aces versus Creighton's lone 1. And so that margin alone being, that alarming, that's going to be tough to overcome if you have that many service errors and you're also giving up 6 aces. So, you have to hand it to DePaul right now. What they're doing behind the service line is really helping them be in the lead for this set.
You got that solid returning core, and then a group that is newcomers, but they are contributing as well. So look at Avery Evans-Allen that hits the court first. She's ready in the middle. She's played well. We haven't called her name very much, but she's done a nice job as well. With Murray, one of those newcomers, ready to serve again. This time she'll go straight up. Pua'a, quick release to Hickman. Now on the attack again, blocked by the Jays, but it is another kill for Denneman on the near side.
And when you're an undersized outside, not being one that's able to hit up and over blocks, you have to be crafty. And Denneman has done a phenomenal job today in doing just that, being crafty and using the hands, seeing the seams when they're open. But she's done a really good job today, finding a way to produce kills for her team.
Keely Davis puts an end to the run for DePaul with a big kill. Now she'll serve.
Yeah, and Creighton's going to need that. They're going to need Keely and they're going to need Jayla to be a little bit more of a dominant powerhouse up there in the front row, and that's typically what they do. So, you kind of got to light a fire a little bit.
Yeah.
And the fire's probably lit right now with them trailing 4 points in a set 3. If I'm Jayla, if I'm Keely, I'm saying give me the ball.
Davis grabs the ace, trying to keep it consistent. Comes Denneman, and again off the arms of Hickman and Schmidt up front.
She's doing a good job of catching them on their way down. The Creighton Blue Jays are just a little bit early. When you're blocking, you don't want to be high. That's the one thing that you don't want to do. And that's what some people might think is, as a blocker, you want to be jump as high as you possibly can. And while, yes, you do want to jump high, your body doesn't want to look high and tall. You actually want to be low so that you're able to press and use those hands to block, because you don't want it to be hitting off the forearms. And it just seems like their block is just a little bit early and a little bit high.
Avery Evans-Allen, last play, you see the ball just sail over Pua'a on the dig by Zimmerman. And now Creighton will work Grace Nelson into the mix.
And while that doesn't come out as a service ace in the books, it essentially is. If you're able to get that ball out of system or get an overpass, it's almost the same thing.
Pua'a to Hickman, nice dig. But that one hit off the antenna for the Blue Demons, and the Jays grab the point. 22-17. Trying to stay alive in set number 3. Ellie Bolton back.
That's a big point for the Blue Jays. You know, that's a 16-23, where all they need to do is just get 2 points. Now, if you're Creighton, you're saying, okay, what can we do to push to 20 and then hold them?
Floats it over. Schmidt. Now Pua'a will bring it back to Zimmerman and off of the blocking error for DePaul. The Jays cut it to 4.
You know, I think sometimes it takes your hitters just a little bit to understand the personnel that they're going up against. And once you're able to understand where you can catch your blockers, where you can be able to find the seams and tools, then it seems to kind of get a rhythm and get a flow. And I think you'll see Jayla as well as Keeley being a little bit more productive, like you see right there, because they're like, okay, my defense is set up in the corners. I'm going to find that deep donut. Okay, that blocker's not getting all the way out. I'm going to find the tool, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Jays cut it to 3 on Zimmerman's dunk to the back row. You see Carl can't handle it, and Coach Zidek wants a timeout. 22-19. The lead has been, well, it's been as many, I believe, as 5 in this third set. Didn't get a run like we did in the first 2 sets between the 2 squads. Obviously, Creighton got off to a big start in set number 1. They got the victory. DePaul got off to a big start in set number 2. They got the victory. This one has been pretty even back and forth most of the way, with DePaul holding that 3 to 4 point lead here recently.
Yeah, and it's just been what they've been doing behind the service line. So, you know, as well as what Creighton has not been doing behind the service line. So coming out of a timeout, you know, if you're Ellie Bolton, you can't put that ball over and in too easy where you allow all 3 hitters to come at you, but you definitely can't put this ball in the net or out. You have to give them the opportunity to at least do something with it and give your Creighton Blue Jays the opportunity to defend it.
Just about ready to break out of it. There's the huddle for DePaul. Creighton already on the floor, ready to go. Bolton serving out of the timeout. See if she can keep it going. Again to the same spot, very consistent on this group of serves. And the Blue Jays come up with the block, and it falls inbounds. That's exactly what they needed.
You know, it was a really good pass. The set was just too tight. It was a really good idea to go to Price, and I think she had it off that 1 foot slide as a right side. I think the ball was just a little bit too tight for her to handle.
Ball coming up with a little bit more zip. Nice job by Bolton, Nelson, and then to put it across is Zimmerman. Bolton high in the air. Nelson headed toward the bench, and it's too close to be able to pull a return. So DePaul, 23 now for the Jays, 20.
That's a big point if you're DePaul. You definitely don't want to see that large of a margin, you know, get too close when you're trying to close this thing out in set 3.
Zimmerman, Pua'a, back to Zimmerman, blocked at the net. Jays will try it again. Ellie Bolton to Schmidt. At the net, it will be attempted to be pushed over, blocked by the Jays. On the far side is Price. DePaul with another chance. Presley. And out of bounds on the block by the Jays. 24-20. Set point again, and DePaul trying to take a 2-1 lead here in Omaha.
And Presley's doing little by little where she's able to find a way to get those kills for her team, and they definitely needed her there.
Krasowski ends it with an ace. 25-20 in set number 3. The Blue Jays trailed 2-1 to the visiting DePaul Blue Demons. These teams tied in the Big East standings right now at 500 as far as the records go, and it's a big one for DePaul if they can steal day number 1 in Sokol Arena. We're back in a moment for set number 4, Creighton and DePaul. Volleyball coming to you on Jays Video. Jake Ryan, Shannon Smolinski readying you for the continuation of this match. DePaul taking care of their substitutions, their rotations. Shannon, we noted it. It's the fact that the Jays have been inconsistent, and DePaul has taken advantage at the right times.
They have. You know, it's pretty balanced across the board when it comes to kills, when it comes to blocks and errors. But, you know, Creighton is just having a little bit too many timely errors. That's giving DePaul a lot of confidence to be able to take those reins and attack. So, you know, here in set 4, if you're Creighton, you have to come out strong. you have to show your physicality at the net, and you have to make sure that you're attacking with intent.
Early attack here by Jill Presley puts the Jays up 1-0 as Hina Pua'a serves for the second consecutive time. Now DePaul will attack and find a spot where the Jays couldn't get to.
The right side attack is hard to defend. You're making your middles move left. Sometimes you're able to catch the blockers where you get the one-on-one opportunity. And I think DePaul's doing a good job of attacking on that side of the floor.
Nice job for Schmidt. The up by Lee. Krasowski. Denneman, now the Jays on the other side. Hickman with the quick trigger off the quick pass. And the Jays back up 2-1.
I would keep going after that. If I'm the Blue Jays, I would say, let's just run it quick. You're going to get the one-on-one opportunities. You're going to find a way to either, end in a kill or end in putting them out of system. And so that is definitely what my game plan would be if I'm heading into set 4 is what can we do to speed up our offense and what can we do to get our middles the ball.
Kelly Davis spins the ball on her left hand. Now the jump serve. A little deep for Denneman, and another point for the Jays, 3-1.
When you're serving aggressively and you're passing solid, you're just putting a lot of pressure on the other side as well as the other side's pins to find ways to score, and it's hard. You have 4 hands in front of you, and you have a defense that's stopped and ready to defend you, and that's exactly what a good serving team is going to do, is they're going to find a way to put the pressure. So Creighton is doing a good job of taking advantage of that right now.
Great job by Pua'a to race to the far side of the court and leave a pretty perfect pass for Jayla Zimmerman. 4-1 Blue Jays.
Yeah, both Jayla and Keeley have the experience to take over this match. They know what they want to do within their arsenal and where they want to be hitting that ball. So it's just going to be up to them of making sure that they're laser focused on what they want to do. And if that's what their intent is, they're going to be able to find a way to sneak out a win here in set 4.
Denneman with the big kill. Davis, Pua'a, Schmidt dumps it in.
Smart, super smart. When you have your libero out, that's like, you want to say libero's out, because typically anything right over the block there in zone 4, which is in that left front area, typically it's not open because the libero's there, and liberos are usually good at going forward. But when you have the middle there, and they're a little bit taller and longer, it's a little bit harder for them to bend over and play that ball. So just a really smart play.
DePaul into the net, 6-2 now, as Ellie Bolton will go to work. Jays have never lost to DePaul since beginning this series in Big East play. They have lost once in the all-time series. That lone meeting was back in 2001. Believe it or not, that was before Kirsten Berthold moved this year. She's been here for so many years. Another solid attack for the Blue Jays, 7-2 now.
Really solid attack by the Blue Jays and by Jayla, but really hard ball to push that far across from Mahina. She did a great job.
7-2 Blue Jays, timeout for DePaul. Looking to even things up as Creighton. DePaul trying to make sure they leave day number 1 with a win. Back in a moment on Jays Video. Things have gone the way of the Blue Jays here in set number 4. And that ball off the top of the net continues, at least so far. And then Pua'a can't handle the big swing for DePaul. 7-3 your score.
Nelson has been really productive for the Blue Demons today. Another set where it's behind your setter, and they're finding a way to see the seam and go that cross court. That 1-6 seam has been pretty open for them, and they've done a good job of hitting it.
Nice work again for Pua'a up front. Kara Reinhardt with the kill.
Just staying disciplined, trusting yourself, trusting your teammates of what you're wanting to do. And if you're Creighton, if you do those things, you do the little details, we should be able to see a 5-set match here.
Allie Van Eckeren from DePaul's neck of the woods in Naperville, Illinois. It's that serve. Good rip by Denneman. we didn't talk about her too much in the pregame, but she's been impressive on this near side.
Yeah, she definitely has. She is going up fearless. The 5'10" junior, she is, the transfer from Pacific. She is taking her opportunity to shine, being one of the newcomers added to this DePaul crew, and she's just going in fearless.
Reinhardt at the net. I'm not sure if it was DePaul blocking it or if it just came back off the top of the net. It looked like it might have been hands in the area. She was trying to go low off of them and went a little bit too low. Zimmerman, big swing. Carl and Krasowski were both there, but that ball...
Well, it was tough because, when you have a middle that's in front and then you have another that's running behind on a slide, you're having to say, okay, where's she going to set that ball? And Van Akron did a really good job of staying neutral and not showing where she was going to go, and that really opened up some seams for Jayla.
Great shot by Welty. Looked like it might have been going long, but she pulled a little bit back before she contacted the ball, and that was enough.
Yeah, the one thing that I like when you have Welty up there is she's also played middle, so she's able to run quick tempo balls behind the setter, and she's also able to run in front. So I like the versatility that Creighton uses when they have her up there with Kiara. I think they do a great job of being balanced and running different cross patterns with them both.
That time between Welty and Reinhardt, they did a nice job of denying DePaul across the net. A couple of blocks picked up there in that sequence. Krasowski, quick pass, quick delivery, and Avery Evans-Allen picks up the kill.
Quick delivery. It's almost like a zero tempo. You have your high 2-tempo balls, which are, higher to the pin, sometimes higher in the middle. Then you have your 1-tempo where you want to be in the air when the setter has the ball. And then there's your 0-tempo where you're completely jumping and they're feeding it to you, very fast. And that was a really good 0-tempo. You're almost going to be guaranteed to not have a blocker.
Reinhardt pulls the trigger late, grabs the kill on a high pass. And now Kiara back to serve. Jays up 6. Now up 5.
You could have heard a pin drop in the DJ Sokol arena here. It was so quiet as she glances back at her elbow. Everybody just kind of
Maybe people need to make more noise, perhaps. That is the 10th service error of the match for the Jays. Davis, Van Akron, and then the soft dump across.
That's exactly what you need to do if you're Keeley. You have a unforced service error. You don't want to have that turn into any more. You don't want to let them go on a run. The margin of error is so small, and this game comes down to runs, and so you want to be able to end that rally and not let it go any more than just a one and done.
Pua'a back in. Mahina sends it over. Phoenix Lee, far side, and that's off the top of the net. The kill for Nelson.
Yeah, they've been very effective behind the setter. So we'll see if Keeley can make that adjustment to commit to that right side, see her line of attack, line up with her, and take away that cross-court ball, because I don't think they've yet hit down the line. So if you're Keeley or if you're Jayla, you could almost move in essentially and take away that cross-court ball. And that's what she did. She lined up with her cross-court, and she forced her to tip. And you make that adjustment, and that's the difference of you forcing them to make an error or you forcing them to stay comfortable and have that seam open.
Cross-court served by Davis. Now Zimmerman, Pua'a, Hickman. Hickman catches Phoenix Lee on the shoulder, and the Jays balloon their lead to 7. Timeout for DePaul. You see it. Hickman knew that she had a good spot to pick from, and Phoenix Lee just didn't have the reaction time needed to be able to return that. Blue Jays playing much better, obviously up by 7 here in set number 4.
Yeah, and I think that's coming down to the unforced errors. In set 3, there was a lot of unforced errors, and you're seeing in this set, it's just a lot cleaner volleyball, whether it be on the ball control side or whether it be hitters taking care of the ball. Creighton's doing a lot better job of that in this set.
Set number 4, the Jays hitting .625 right now. It's
impressive.
Yeah, it's double what they have pulled out in the 2 previous sets. In fact, they were better in set 2 in the first loss of the day when they hit 387, but last time just 135, 167 to start. I mean, it's overall, that's pretty good percentages, up to 275 in this match. But the errors have got to, again, service errors, it just seems like it hasn't hurt them here.
Right.
But the last game, and you talked about the timing of when they're happening is just bad.
Yeah, it definitely is. But like you had mentioned with the hitting percentage, I think the outsides, even with the middles, with Naomi and just a little bit of that upperclassmen leadership, we talked about lighting a fire, and it's like, hey, we're in set 4. Mm-hmm. We're down. We have to win this set to force it to a 5th set. So, that fire was lit, and we'll see if they can maintain it to close this thing out here in set 4.
And the Jays grab the point. They really need to take care of business here in the next couple of weeks, because if they're not in the top 2 in the Midwest Division, which the Big East has partitioned out the teams this year, they're not going to make the tournament in their own building, which, you don't want to think about right now, but got to be in the top 2. And right now, DePaul at 500, Creighton at 500, and Xavier at 500. So really 3 teams tied for second. Jays doing their best to make sure that they're into a 5th set and can pull out this match.
Yeah, and Hickman always does such a good job at the net, and that's just something that this team, they do so many things so well. They have all the little details, and when they're playing good volleyball, Creighton is a really hard team to try to knock off. So when you're on those, that 27-day break, and you're kind of losing your momentum and your focus a little bit, you kind of saw that in the first 3 sets of them kind of knocking off a little bit of that dust of, okay, we have to have a little bit more sense of urgency. Coach Booth has talked about game-like urgency, or urgency that she calls it, and they need to. Like you mentioned, you can't wait around. You have to be urgent to make sure we're taking care of business, because we want to be in the hunt.
And they are taking care of business right now. They've run off 4 straight points after the timeout for DePaul, and look like they are playing with purpose right now.
The blockers are doing a really good job of being disciplined, and when you're disciplined, you're cutting the margin of error a lot smaller.
And you talk about the blockers. Kiara Reinhardt has set her career high today with 7 blocks. Hickman, you expect those numbers to be higher for her. She's only picked up 2 today. So when you can have a couple other of your teammates step up and outdo what your specialty is, that bodes well. Hickman with another big swing off the pass by Pua'a. Bolton, Lahina, back row, Bressman just out of bounds as Emily Bressman got the opportunity.
And what a really good up by Banez. That was a really hard swing out of the middle, and for her to be able to dig that ball up, even with warm-up, she was like the hype man for DePaul with their warm-ups, and so as soon as she got that dig, DePaul's whole bench went crazy for her. So
there you go. The Jays now with a 10-point lead, 20-10. Hickman out. She'll swap spots with Kiara Reinhardt. Ellie Bolton back to serve.
Yeah, both sides are being really effective behind the setter. It's just a hard ball to defend if you're catching your blockers not loaded and ready to close.
And an ace for Ellie Bolton. 21-10.
That's a really hard ball to defend. If it's a float serve and it's flat and clean and then it drops, you're really catching your passers off balance. That's a really hard ball.
Bolton sends it in again. Phoenix Lee uncomfortable on the set. That led to a ball that was long but touched by the Jays, 21-11.
Yep, they got a touch by the line judge on the DePaul side.
Ellie Bolton still thinks she's serving.
A little bit of confusion by Coach Booth asking whose call is that? as they're showing out.
Murray for DePaul has a volleyball, and Bolton has a ball for the Jays.
That could be a fun game. I mean, if you were doing it with two balls going at once.
And now they've said it's Jays point. Coach Zidek obviously has a problem with that.
A lot of confusion. Still 2 balls in play. Haven't yet really figured out who's serving.
And Coach, you saw Coach Bernthal Booth just say, we're going to play.
Yeah, we're good. We've got a 10-point lead. Let's just focus on what we're doing this set. Stay in the driver's seat. Let's get the pass. And let's play.
Zimmerman, Pua'a, Reinhardt. Clean kill, 22-11. So the Jays get it right back.
A clean kill that started with a clean pass, and those are the little details that you want to make sure are super sharp and ready to go when you're ready to close this thing out, as well as take that momentum into set 5 if we do end up getting a win here by the Blue Jays.
Pua'a and Kiana Schmidt out. Allie Van Ekeren will check in along with, I believe, Annika Welty. It is. Zimmerman digs it up. Van Ekeren, Annika Welty, and now tough hit for Van Ekeren there. Zimmerman, big swing. DePaul regroups. And it is a point for the Jays.
Yeah, but double contact. There's been probably about 3 or 4 of them on the DePaul side. The defense is doing a really good job of getting that ball up, and the setters have to be a little bit stronger within their actions to make sure that they're not getting any spin off that hand.
23-11. Blue Jays in front. Nice job by Bolton. Van Ekeren goes back across to Zimmerman, and DePaul can't regroup in time. Set point for the Blue Jays.
Really good defense by both sides. You're seeing just really battling, getting that ball up, and that one was just a little bit too tight. Got it up, tried to take it over on that second, and it was just too low.
Van Ekeren, they thought it was going to be long. It is an ace, and the last 2 sets have been ended with an ace. DePaul did it in set 3. The Jays do it here in set 4. A big 25-11 win, and we're headed to a 5th when we come back to Sokol Arena in Omaha. DePaul and Creighton, Big East Volleyball on Jays Video. 7-0 home and away for the Jays in this series, and the only time that a set or a match, has gone 5 was back in 2015. So DePaul has not been close very many times against the Jays, and here they are with a chance to pull out a victory on day number 1 of this 2-game set with the Blue Jays in Omaha. Phoenix Lee will get things started. Ellie Bolton from the back row. Pua'a starts as a setter. Zimmerman with the big swing. Pua'a with the dig. Bolton now with the pass. Who's it to? It's Davis on the far side, blocked by the Blue Demons, and they take a 1-0 lead to start set 5.
Yeah, Keeley was going to try to go after their hands, and then on her way down kind of stopped. Serve and pass at the beginning of this set is going to be crucial here of who can, be able to put that first ball, whether it be your serve or your pass, and give your team an advantage.
Bolton gets low, nice pass to Pua'a, who returns the favor to Hickman, and the Jays tied at 1.
Because offensively, you're going to get in rhythm. But to get in rhythm and to be able to have, everything open up for you at the net is really going to come down to serve and pass. And so as we go back and forth, it'll be interesting to see who Creighton targets for their passing and who the Blue Jays, go after, because that's exactly what you're trying to do is get him out of system to force those pins to try to keep that ball in play.
Carl's attack off the antenna, and the Jays lead it 2-1. From the back row, Pua'a, another solid dig. Bolton, Zimmerman, and that ball tipped, and another point to the Jays. It's 3-1.
Yeah, Pua'a is definitely those 2 points that led into kills for Creighton. All started out with a defensive pass by her, and DePaul has been so effective behind the setter, hitting that seam, and she's done a really good job of defending it.
Carl takes something off it, leaves it close to the net to the Jays, and that's going to be DePaul's point.
Yeah, just a little bit of a ball handling error. So right now, if you're Creighton, just one soft pass, find a way to get in rhythm, because we definitely don't want to see DePaul. If you're Creighton, you don't want to see DePaul get on a run, and if you're DePaul, you've known how successful you've been back there, so you want to go back there and be aggressive.
Off the top of the net, nice job by Zimmerman adjusting. Hickman, and now Bolton will send it across for the Blue Jays. Pua again on her back after a dig. Back row from Keely Davis. At the net, nice job by the Blue Jays between Hickman and Schmidt. Far and too far for Nelson. Took a big swing, thought about, almost looked like she second-guessed herself as she brought the arm forward. And by the time she had made that decision, it was too late. The ball was already on the way out.
Yeah, for her, she just needed a transition. It was going back and forth, but she didn't get in transition. But it looks like we're going to have a challenge here, so I'm not sure if it's a net that they're looking at or if they thought there was a touch. I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at here.
We'll take a look at the screen along with the official, and we'll hopefully get some word on what they're looking for.
You know, as far as it being in or out, it was definitely out. And as far as there being a touch, I didn't think that I saw one. You know, it looked as if she overran the ball and got some spin on the ball because it might have hit a little bit off of her forearm. But I didn't see anything close at the net to where it would have lent itself to being a tip. So well, it looks like they're maybe challenging a net call on Hickman if that's what they're looking at.
Yep. So a net violation.
You know, so often we get trained for our eyes to go to the end of the rally at what happened as if that's what they're challenging, but it looks like at the middle of the rally with Hickman going one-on-one with their middle could have been a net violation.
So right now, Blue Jays up 4-2. Here's the sequence again.
So it looks like the ball hit the net and made the net move, but it doesn't look like Hickman.
Well, Hickman turned and her hair swung into the net, but that's no longer part of touching the net, correct?
Correct, yeah, to my knowledge, as well as I know they've been a little bit more lenient with the net. You have to
watch Presley's reaction after Hickman turns. Watch down in the bottom right corner of your screen, and now you're not going to see it again, of course, because but watch when she hits it. You're not going to see it there either. I mean, Naomi swung around fast and her hair hit the net, and you saw the reaction from Presley. So here's our decision. Yeah, it will stay with the Blue Jays. I think what DePaul saw was when Hickman turned, her hair did swing into the net, but that's the only touch that you saw there.
As well as the ball, you know, the ball hit it previously, that made that, you know,
made the net move even
correct,
more, and then
correct.
if you
kind of alarms you as if maybe there was something there, but there wasn't.
So the challenge is no challenge. It stays with the Jays. 4-2, Ellie Bolton serving. Low in the back row, setting it up. There is Reinhardt and Schmidt again, and it's going to be a point to the Blue Jays. Again, good job at the net, and you talked about it. Starts with the service, and Ellie Bolton doing a nice job, and DePaul has seen enough. 5-2 Blue Jays, and they will take a timeout. The Blue Demons will, to try to figure out what's going on. 3 of the last 4 home matches have now gone 5 sets for the Creighton Blue Jays. We are in set number 5, and the Jays with an early 5-2 lead over DePaul. Coach Zidek for the Blue Demons trying to challenge. It would have brought the score back to 3-3 if she had won it. Instead, the Jays have run off another point after it, and now up 5-2 as Ellie Bolton continues to serve. Tight to the net, blocked again by Reinhardt. 6-2 Creighton.
Really good, solid setup by Jayla, and a really good job by Reinhardt to just be low and over and taking that away. Because like I had mentioned, they had been so effective behind the setter. So they're doing a really good job of being disciplined to see that ball out of the setter's hands to then
off the top of the net for Bolton. She gets fortunate there. Reinhart with the kill attack, or with the attack off the pass from Pua'a. And that ball is in off the linesman, and DePaul will grab the point. Substitutions as Phoenix. Lee Ibanez in as well. Low, and Davis, you saw it on her face as soon as she hit it.
It was an aggressive serve. Again, like we had talked about earlier, those balls that are flat and clean and then they just drop. Those are really hard balls to defend if you can't track it off the hand early enough.
So the ace by Ibanez, and the lead now just 2. And there it goes. It's okay. Don't worry upstairs. The stat monitor is okay. It's not the stat monitor. It's the actual program monitor.
Yeah, we got
more importantly, you're safe, Shannon, and that's what we're leaning for.
It's a good swing.
7-4 after Ibanez couldn't handle the swing from Zimmerman on the far side. Van Ekeren, and just getting out of the way was Hannah Carl.
They make that 12. That's 12 now service errors from the Blue Jays. So if you're DePaul, you want to make sure that you're capitalizing on that. Only going to 15 points in set 5. If you're getting any unforced errors to come your way, you're going to want to find a way to turn that into a run.
Molly Murray serving. Van Ekeren back to Zimmerman. Left up, blocked again by Reinhart. Welty may have gotten a piece of it.
And if you're Presley, you have to be a little bit more creative there. You're out of system. You know that you're going to have 4 hands in front of you, and those 4 hands are, that's a big block. So you have to go strong with either tooling them, or you have to go strong trying to go over them.
And an ace for Jayla Zimmerman.
Another one of those balls that are just coming over flat and dropping is typically going to put them out of system, or is going to end in a point. And that's what you have to be doing right now. If you're going to have that many service errors, what are we doing to then maybe be aggressive and try to get some service aces, or to put them out of system?
9-5, another timeout for DePaul. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. for the start. It is senior day for the Blue Jays, as Creighton will honor their seniors, I believe, after the match. Is what was in the notes. So Mahina Pua'a, Grace Nelson. Pua'a, obviously in her first season with the Jays, she came over from Arizona after playing for the Wildcats in 2019. Seems so weird to not say there was no volleyball in 2020.
Right.
So it's hard to, everything's got an asterisk by it now, right?
Right, right.
You've got baseball seasons that got underway last year, and
right.
softball seasons that got underway. Do you count those victories for the coach? I know there's all sorts of different things, but the stats don't count for the player. It's just the weirdest thing.
Right.
And to not have a 2020 volleyball season, and here we are in the spring with everything going on.
Right.
It's a challenge for the players, obviously, but it's a challenge for all those that work within the game management of each event. Usually you're able to handle those events separately in different seasons, but I think everybody's done a nice job, and we'll get through this. Welty with the swing on the block by DePaul. It's out of bounds, and another point to the Jays, 10-5.
Annika has had a really good day today. It's kind of a quiet day, 3 to 4 kills, but she's doing it at the right time. It's when they need a kill. She's doing a really good job of putting that ball away, using her height and getting an easy tool. She's having a really good day today.
Too much on the swing from Evans Allen, and it's 11-5 Jays. Presley, Van Ekeren's there, tight to the net, and Annika Welty, last second, okay, swings it with the left hand and just drops it in.
Yeah, and that's one where, as a middle, those tight balls, you're going to want to get up and try to defend that. So, I'm not sure why Evans Allen didn't go up for that. Maybe she thought they had 4 contacts. I'm not sure, but usually your middles are going to be the one that should take that on.
Zimmerman with the Jays up 12-5, and there's a cut shot for DePaul that will put them back on the board. 12-6 now, as Jill Presley will stroll to the back line.
Yeah, they were really effective behind the setter throughout the match. I've talked about that multiple times. But to start this set out, it was so crucial that they defended it early. They shut it down. So, Mahina did a really good job defensively, making sure that that wasn't just going to be a clean, easy swing that ended rallies.
Bolton up for Welty. Sent back across. Bolton starts it. Van Ekeren, far side. Davis dumps it in. 13-6 Blue Jays.
You're seeing a little bit of the experience coming through. Your DePaul has your younger freshmen, outsides, and Creighton has, your outsides that are a little bit more veteran. And that's what you're seeing here in set 5 is, being smart to find a way to end the rally there. And that's exactly what she did.
13-6 Jays. Another block as Dinneman comes up right across the net, and the Jays have got match point.
A little bit of a block party here in set 5. What a really good setup by the two of them to be low and over and taking that away. Really good block setup.
Off the net, and it goes the wrong way. Unfortunate for Kiara Reinhardt.
You have to be thankful that it's not, a 14-13 or a 14-14. So hopefully you can just get this one pass and end it with a one and done.
Krasowski across. Zimmerman leaves it close for Van Ekeren, and Davis was unable to get there before it hits the antenna.
Just too tight of a pass for her to handle. Her momentum's taking her too tight to the net. Then that allows that ball to kind of go off her right shoulder and then hit the antenna.
Rachel Krasowski back to Zimmerman, similar, but this time more control, but it's blocked by DePaul, and the Blue Demons come up with the point. So a small run for DePaul here. Jays had match point. Reinhardt into the net, and now 3 straight. Krasowski trying to make it 4. Zimmerman again. Van Ekeren, better pass. Hickman dumps it over, and the Jays are 15-0 against DePaul since joining the Big East. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., we will do it all over as these same 2 teams will be in action right here at Sokol Arena. For the entire Jays video crew, for Shannon Smolinski, I'm Jake Ryan. Thanks again for tuning in this morning. Creighton moves into second place with a defeat of DePaul. They take this one 3-2 in 5 from Omaha. Talk with you tomorrow on Jays Video.